On Baybridge Beach, two friends, Haley and Claire, enjoy the last days of summer vacation together. Haley can't take her eyes off Ray, the beach lifeguard, but a group of popular girls, led by Cecilia, get there first and catch the young man's attention. Claire tries to calm her down, saying that Ray doesn't care about them, but the guy is not only interested, he also tries to impress them by showing off his strength. Irritated, Haley asks her friend to leave, but Claire's grandparents ask for her help decorating the beach house. The couple is organizing the town festival, called the Last Splash, and they need to get everything ready before the big day. After work, Haley returns home and sees a for sale sign on the lawn. It seems that she and Ginny, her mother, are moving to Australia because of a job opportunity for her mother as a marine biologist. Later, the girl meets up with Claire and the two try to think of a way for Haley to stay in Baybridge. They then begin to pray, asking the sea gods to make Haley's mother change her mind. Coincidentally or not, a strong storm begins, with huge waves hitting the beach house. Because of this, all the lights in the house go out and a mysterious man wearing a hat breaks in. The girls scream in terror, but it is only Maggie, who has come to call them back because it is time to go to bed. However, during the night, Claire begins to have strange nightmares, as if something or someone is being taken away by the sea. The next morning, the two friends go to see what happened and find the entire beach house in disarray due to the force of the waves. While her grandparents try to clean up the mess, Claire sees a mysterious light coming from the pool and tries to take a closer look. However, she ends up falling into the pool, and amid the seaweed thrown up by the waves, the girl sees a huge fishtail pass in front of her. Then she comes across a young woman with blonde hair and blue highlights, but her face is covered and Claire can't see her. Desperate, the girl tries to escape and is rescued by Ray, who jumps into the pool and brings her back to the surface. Upon leaving, Claire says she saw something strange underwater, but Bob believes it was just a fish carried by the current. However, the girl is sure she saw someone in there and tells Haley, with the two agreeing to investigate the place during the night. Hours later, the friends go to the pool and Haley starts throwing fish bait to attract the creature Claire saw inside. Suddenly, they come across a young woman on the other side, who starts swimming towards the girls with her fishtail. Her name is Aquamarine, and she is a mermaid, a legendary creature that lives hidden at the bottom of the sea. Claire and Haley are impressed to see a real mermaid, and in addition to lighting up the water and jumping high, Aquamarine is also able to create waves with the power of her mind. The mermaid also tells them that her father had promised her to marry a young merman, following the tradition of her people. However, she refused and ran away from home, being carried to the beach house by the strong storm. The conversation continues, but Leonard, the watchman, hears noises and goes to see what is happening. Claire and Haley then return home, but first ask the mermaid to stay hidden in the pool. Another day passes and the girls rush to see Aquamarine, but the pool has been emptied for cleaning. The two fear that something has happened to the mermaid, but they find her inside the storage room, hidden among the safety buoys. Aquamarine then shows her human legs, which transform in daylight and dry places. However, if her legs get wet or night falls, she will return to her mermaid form and needs to get back into the water as soon as possible. Claire then invites her to her house, but first Haley gives her a shirt to wear. Although Aquamarine doesn't know how to wear human clothes, she quickly adapts the shirt and turns it into a dress, impressing Haley and Claire. After that, they go to Claire's room, and before long, Aquamarine begins to enjoy life as a human. However, her shell begins to ring, as if it were a cell phone, and on the other end, the mermaid hears her father ordering her to return home. Aquamarine refuses, because she is now in the surface world and wants to prove that true love exists. Furious, the mermaid's father begins to create a huge storm, but his daughter calms him down, saying that if she does not find love, she will return to the sea and obey his orders. The storm then disappears, and Aquamarine explains to the girls that in her world, mermaids and mermen do not know what love is. All marriages are arranged by parents, but the mermaid refuses to obey tradition because she has truly fallen in love with someone from the surface world. That someone is none other than Ray, the young lifeguard who is currently windsurfing on the beach. Without thinking twice, Aquamarine runs to talk to him, and as soon as she finds him, she asks if Ray loves her. As expected, the guy doesn't even know what to say, but he is impressed by the beauty of the unknown young woman. Soon after, his friends call him to leave and Aquamarine is disappointed, as she realizes that love is not so easy to find. Even so, she doesn't intend to give up and asks Claire and Haley for help in winning Ray over. In exchange for their help, the mermaids are required to grant a wish, and the two friends accept, as this may be Haley's chance to stay in Baybridge. However, they still need to make Aquamarine more human and take her back home. Meanwhile, at the pool, Leonard finds a necklace in the dirt, with a pendant very similar to the one he picked up in the sea years ago. He continues to investigate, unaware that the owner of the necklace is in the room with Haley and Claire. The two girls begin to teach the mermaid the secrets of human conquest, starting by calling Ray's phone and hanging up as soon as he answers. Aquamarine decides to give it a try, but as soon as Ray answers the call, the crazy girl starts screaming and throws the phone out the window. This first attempt didn't work out very well, but Claire and Haley decide to try something else and take the young mermaid on a bike ride. The idea is to ride past Ray's house and get his attention, without him suspecting that it's all on purpose. The three of them then ride their bikes to the street where he lives, just as Ray is exercising, and he is surprised to see Aquamarine again. However, the mermaid gets so excited that she accidentally hits the brakes on Claire's bike and falls face first onto the ground. Ray quickly runs to help the young woman and puts a bandage on her leg, with the young mermaid thanking him for his help. However, the moment is interrupted by Cecilia, who shows up with her friends to take driving lessons with Ray. The young lifeguard then goes to get ready, but says he hopes to see Aquamarine again very soon. As soon as he enters the house, Cecilia begins to tease the girls, saying they have no chance with Ray. She even mocks Aquamarine's name, but the mermaid explains that it comes from a rare sea jewel, while the name Cecilia means something like without vision. For the first time, the popular girl doesn't know how to respond, which only makes Haley and Claire even more impressed with Aquamarine. After that, the three return to Claire's room and pick up her magazine collection so that Aquamarine can learn more tips on how to win someone over. After reading several of them, the mermaid feels ready to talk to Ray again, and the three go to a themed fair in the city. Once there, they find Ray with his friends and decide to get his attention by walking behind him and laughing for no reason. The plan works and Ray goes to see who it is, so Haley and Claire tell Aquamarine to exchange a quick glance with him and touch her hair. The problem is that the mermaid starts shaking her hair non-stop, so the girls just tell her to stand with her back to him and wait for Ray to come toward her. Again, the plan works, and the young lifeguard is happy to meet Aquamarine again. He even gives her the dolphin doll he won at the event as a gift, and the two continue together to see the rest of the attractions. Suddenly, Aquamarine sees a couple crossing the lake on a paddleboat, and Ray invites her to do the same. Along the way, the two realize they have a lot in common, including overprotective and demanding parents. While Aquamarine's father wants her to marry someone she doesn't love, Ray wants to see the world, but his father insists that he go to college. The two grow closer and closer, and Ray asks Aquamarine if she already has a companion for the last splash. However, before she can answer, the mermaid realizes that the sun is setting and she will soon return to her normal form. Desperate, she pedals the boat at full speed, and Claire and Haley help her reach the surface. Ray is confused and asks what happened, but Aquamarine just apologizes and says she has to go. The three then leave on their bikes and need to find a place with water for the mermaid to spend the night, since the pool is still empty. Besides, if she returns to the sea, her father will use the force of the waves to take her back to her world. After thinking for a while, Claire and Haley take her to a water tank in the farthest part of the city, but they have to climb a long staircase to reach it. Haley and Aquamarine begin to climb, but Claire prefers to stay behind, as she has been afraid of water since losing her parents in an accident. Finally, they reach the tank and Aquamarine jumps into the water, returning to her mermaid form. Later, the two friends are in their room and Haley says they need to buy clothes for the mermaid to wear on last splash night. So, pooling their savings, they take Aquamarine to the mall and the three enjoy a fun afternoon trying on clothes, getting their nails done, and having their hair done. When they get home, they still need to find a pair of earrings, and Claire decides to lend her one. However, the mermaid doesn't like the idea of piercing her ears, and instead calls the girls to the harbor to get their own earrings, made of small starfish. When they arrive at the harbor, Aquamarine points to a buoy and says they can find the starfish nearby. It's a long way to swim, but Aquamarine has an idea, and with a loud whistle, she calls her dolphin friends. Due to her fear of water, Claire decides to stay, so Haley goes with the dolphins towards the buoy. Meanwhile, Aquamarine advises the girl to put her fear aside and enjoy life, but the girl replies that she would like to be as brave and confident as a mermaid. Aquamarine then says that she became confident thanks to love, which she discovered when she saw a young couple sailing on the sea at night. Although she does not know their names, the mermaid remembers that the boat was called Claire's Moon, with the girl realizing that the couple in the story were her parents. Claire is moved, and Aquamarine says that despite the tragedy, they loved each other very much and would want the best for their daughter. Finally, Haley brings the starfish, and the three friends decide to stop by the snack bar to eat something. At that moment, Cecilia's friends see the girls and decide to tease them, saying that Ray invited Cecilia to the last splash. Irritated, Aquamarine pours soda on the two crazy girls and leaves, saying she will return to the sea, as all her efforts were in vain. Haley follows her and finds the mermaid in front of the beach, wondering whether or not she should go home. The girl asks her not to do so, because the girl's story must be a lie and Aquamarine must continue to believe in true love. Haley then reveals that, years ago, she doubted this feeling when her father abandoned her mother to remarry. Still, she still has faith that true love exists, as it is the closest humans can get to the meaning of magic. These words move Aquamarine, and for the first time, she begins to cry with emotion. The mermaid then decides to stay, and while the two talk, Claire rides her bike to Cecilia's house to confirm that she was indeed invited by Ray. There, she finds the young lifeguard and asks why he invited Cecilia instead of Aquamarine. The young man replies that he heard she had a boyfriend, but Claire says that's not true. Seeing that she is about to be exposed, Cecilia orders one of her friends to throw Claire into the pool. This once again triggers her fear of water, and the girl begins to scream in despair until the young man puts her back on the ground. After that, Claire leaves the house crying, and seeing what Cecilia has done, Ray runs to talk to the girl and apologizes for what happened. He also asks where Aquamarine is, and Claire decides to take him to her. Meanwhile, Aquamarine is venting to Haley, with the two eating ice cream while the mermaid relaxes in the bathtub. However, as soon as Claire and Ray arrive at the house, Aquamarine quickly hides her fishtail and asks Ray to wait in the living room. After that, Aquamarine goes to meet Ray, and after everything is explained, the mermaid returns, saying that he invited her to the last splash. Hours later, the event begins on the beach and Ray is already participating in the event when he sees Aquamarine approaching. He is so impressed by her beauty that he doesn't notice when a young man throws a water balloon right at his shirt. Despite this, he invites Aquamarine to the restaurant, while Haley and Claire watch everything from afar. The two decide to help out some more and ask the band to play a romantic song. As soon as the show starts, Ray asks Aquamarine to dance, and she accepts, even though she has never done it before. At first, she tries to imitate the people around her and starts swaying without rhythm, but Ray helps her and leads Aquamarine during the dance. Everything is going well, but Cecilia shows up at the restaurant and decides to disrupt the date. However, Claire gathers all her courage and stands in front of her, telling her to leave, as Ray and Aquamarine are already together. Cecilia insists, but when she sees the couple in complete harmony, she realizes she has lost her chance and leaves. After the dance, the couple goes for a walk, but the sun is about to set and Aquamarine has to leave. Ray insists that she stay, but the mermaid kisses him and tells him to meet her at the harbor at 9. After that, Haley and Claire take her back to the tank, unaware that Cecilia and her friends have followed them. As soon as night falls, the girl decides to climb up to the tank and find out what Aquamarine is doing up there. When she reaches the top, Cecilia sees Aquamarine swimming with her fishtail and discovers that she is a mermaid. Frightened, the girl heads back, but the ladder starts to come loose and she almost falls. Luckily, Cecilia manages to climb down safely, but she decides to knock the ladder down so that Aquamarine cannot climb down. In addition, she intends to reveal the whole truth, and the next morning, Cecilia goes to talk to her father, a famous local reporter, asking for his help. She says she was walking through town when she heard a girl screaming for help inside a tank. Seeing a chance to get a successful story, the man then calls the authorities and calls for his film crew. Meanwhile, Haley's mother is finishing up the move, and even though she is against the idea, the girl decides to support her in her decision. She then goes to Claire's house to say goodbye, but first asks her friend to take care of her pet fish. Claire says that won't be necessary, because with the wish granted by Aquamarine, Haley won't have to move. However, the girl has changed her mind, realizing that this new job is her mother's dream and she needs to support her. She then suggests asking Aquamarine for something else, but Claire does not accept this decision and accuses her of wanting to abandon her. Haley is hurt by this and leaves, while Claire cries in her room and turns on the television to try to forget about it. However, when she tunes into the local news, she discovers that a rescue team has been sent to the tank where Aquamarine is hiding. She then calls Haley and the two set off on their bikes so they can save their friend before it's too late. Finally, they arrive at the tank, which is surrounded by firefighters and reporters. At that very moment, Cecilia is giving a statement to her father's reporter, saying that the girl is trapped inside and needs to be rescued. The reporter then records the entire rescue live, but when the firefighters inspect the tank, all they find is a dolphin float. Because of this, everyone believes that Cecilia made up the story, but she insists, saying that there is a mermaid inside the tank. Upon hearing this, everyone, including Claire and Haley, begins to laugh at the situation, and Cecilia's father punishes her for causing such embarrassment. The two friends are relieved that Aquamarine has not been discovered, and now they need to know where she is. The truth is that the security guard Leonard had already discovered the mermaid, so he decided to help her by bringing a ladder to the pool. Thanks to him, Aquamarine was saved, and Leonard even gave her the necklace he found inside the pool. As a thank you, Aquamarine offers him a wish, and Leonard asks for a little help in declaring his feelings to his colleague Patty. Nearby, Claire and Haley run to the harbor, as it is almost time for Aquamarine's date with Ray. The young man is already there waiting, until finally, Aquamarine appears. He is happy to see her and tries to arrange another date, but first she says she needs to know something very important, and then asks if Ray loves her. Faced with such a serious question, Ray replies that it is still too early to answer, as they are still getting to know each other. This answer once again disappoints Aquamarine, as she knows that without true love, she will be forced to return home. To make matters worse, Cecilia also goes to the harbor, and furious with everything that has happened, she pushes Aquamarine off the bridge, throwing her into the sea. Ray prepares to save her, but a huge storm begins to form, and Aquamarine appears in her mermaid form. Despite this unexpected surprise, Ray doesn't care and runs to get his surfboard to save Aquamarine. However, the mermaid's father uses the force of the waves to pull his daughter back, with Haley trying to think of a way to save her friend. Finally, she decides to jump into the sea and bring her back, but this time, Claire also decides to go along, overcoming her fear to help Aquamarine. The two then jump into the water and swim towards Aquamarine, with the three holding on to the float. Still, the current is getting stronger and stronger, and it's only a matter of time before Aquamarine is swept away. Then Haley suggests making a wish and asking Aquamarine to stay, but that won't work, because the mermaid couldn't prove to her father that love exists. However, Claire says that the mermaid must stay, because she and Haley love her and would do anything for their new friend. Aquamarine is once again moved by these words and her tears fall into the sea, causing a magical reaction that dispels the entire storm. Thanks to her friend's love, Aquamarine proved her father wrong, and now she is free to make her own destiny. Claire and Haley are very happy about this, and the mermaid says they have earned the right to make a wish. However, they decide to leave it for another time, and shortly after, Ray shows up with his surfboard to rescue them. So, the two friends decide to leave the couple alone, but first Aquamarine gives him her mermaid earrings as a gift. She also promises to meet up with Claire and visit Haley in Australia whenever she can. The two friends then return to the beach, while Ray reunites with Aquamarine, now knowing the whole truth about her. The mermaid says she needs to go home and make things right with her father, but promises to come see him soon. The two then say goodbye with a kiss, and she asks Ray to wait a little while until they meet again. Back at the beach, Claire and Haley are happy to have helped their new friend, and before they leave, Ray appears and thanks them both for their help. He then kisses each of them, and the two can barely contain their excitement at this moment. After that, Claire and Haley each put on the Aquamarine star earrings, which begin to speak in their ears. The little stars tell them how special they are and that their friendship will continue to exist, no matter the distance. Finally, it's time to say goodbye, and Claire and Haley hug, promising to meet again soon in Australia.